Welcome to the flip side of adversity. I'm Dr. Virgia Jackson, and tonight I want us to talk about this conversation, this word, this phrase I've been hearing the soft life. But we're not just stopping at the soft life. Have you ever thought about what soft power looks like? Now, let's be clear. Soft doesn't mean weak. Soft means giving yourself permission to release the constant need to be guarded, to be under control of everything, to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. The soft power is connected to a soft life that allows you to step into your rhythm, your peace, your joy, and intentionally rest. Are you able to actually rest? Well, let's talk about the value of letting go of the hustle and the grind, and about creating boundaries that protect your energy and partnership with your worth. Living soft is choosing a strength in surrender and wisdom and balance. So tonight, let's talk about what it really means to embrace your soft power in the middle of a soft life, and why it might be the boldest move you make all year. Stay tuned. And if you haven't shared yet, or if you haven't subscribed, now's the time. We'll be right back. Trauma, toxic stress, broken habits, and hurting heart don't define destiny. But peace isn't passive. It requires an exchange. To create a flip and access peace in the middle of the pieces, you are challenged to make an exchange of the lies that have kept you mentally hostage in basement moments. Resilience isn't about bouncing back, but bouncing forward. Living Strong, the flip side of adversity, brings powerful stories and fearless conversations from experts in the field of business, relationships, emotional, physical, and mental health, and faith-based communities. Each episode creates a brave space with powerful tools from authentic connections. Tune in as we dig in with Dr. Jackson on the flip side of adversity. Welcome to this conversation. I have been excited about this moment. I think since June, we sat down, had tea, we talked about book, we talked about LitCom, we talked about an opportunity to be on the show. And here we are. We are finally sitting across from one another and able to have a conversation around what does soft power actually mean. And not only are we going to talk about something that she's passionate about, but we are going to talk about the launch of her book. I am so excited to be able to unpack, but you're like, so who is she? Well, let me tell you just a little bit about Crystal Carmen Capel. She is a scientist and emotional pattern expert, an entrepreneur and author dedicated to helping women transform adversity into alignment. Her debut book, Shut Up and Look Pretty, a dating manifesto for soft power and high standards, launched at LitCon just last week, where she actually also appeared as one of our featured speakers. She is the founder of Vanity Image Studio, a luxury beauty destination, and alongside her husband is building Bougie Botanica, a budding, holistic self-care brand rooted in real facts, self-love, and the science of beauty from within. Known for blending science with practical tools, Crystal empowers women to shift patterns, embrace soft power, and create lasting love. So I hope you are as excited as I am. If you haven't shared, you've got your opportunity, because welcome to the flip side of adversity, Crystal Carmen Capo. Yes, and the crowd goes wild. Welcome to the show, Crystal.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited that we finally created this moment. I know we talked about it.
Yeah.
And at LitCon, I actually shared how you walked in the room at Girl Lift Me Up, and we just had Crystal Brown Pinckney on the show last week. And, you know, there are some people you're just like, oh, I want to know who she is. So I think I told you, sit right here. Sit right here. And now, as I shared at LitCon, we are all just one conversation away from our next collaboration.
Right.
And so we are here to not only talk about the jewels, the treasures that are in your newest book, but also getting to know you on the flip side of the adversities that you've been able to overcome. And so, true to the title of the show, I know that you allowed us to so honestly and vulnerably share that in your own story, you were kidnapped at 14, but you've later since then, after being rescued, you didn't allow that to stifle you, to quiet you, or to shrink you. You've actually been able to have that moment, that experience, shape the power of who you are today as a woman. Can you tell us a little bit about how you made that shift?
No, absolutely. So as you can imagine, coming back from something like that, you are definitely living in the victim part of it, and trying to just recover and acclimate back to society and back to life without that happening. I started to see that over time I was engaging in different like scenarios and relationships that weren't really serving me. And I said, well, there's something here I don't like, but what I want is I want to be able to write the end of my story. And it's funny because this is years before the book comes out, right? But I basically felt like I didn't like the idea that this one scenario gets to write everything.
Yes.
Like I didn't want my story to end this way. And so I just made a conscious decision that I was going to decide what the rest of it looked like. And then I just wrote on purpose. I lived on purpose.
I love it. We have had multiple trauma therapists on the show, and the ability to actually, first, what I heard you say is recognize that what I'm living now is not what authentically is who I was designed to be.
Right.
And then instead of continuing to just stay stuck there, you said you wanted to not have that moment define your entire story.
Correct.
That by itself is a powerful insight. And you entitled this episode Adversity to Alignment.
Right.
How does that all connect together for you?
So how it connects is that I had to really sit with myself for a while. Obviously, this took several years, but gradually I started to really try to find out more about myself. What did Crystal like? What does Crystal love? What makes Crystal feel good? What makes Crystal feel safe? And it started with little things. I love things that glitter. I love glamour. I love beauty and fashion. I lived in the heart of New York, so it was easy to find that. But just starting to realize that, I didn't want to allow anything into my world, at least not for any substantial period of time, that didn't align with who I was as a person, and just developing my own ethos. What do I believe in? How do I want to treat people? How do I want to be treated? And slowly but surely making sure that I put myself in environments and situations that really fostered that.
Yes.
And aligned. Yeah. I developed the align. So, I'm into beauty, cosmos, divine alignment, order. And so just ordering my steps and evaluating my decisions when I made them and, giving things a chance,
Yes.
experimenting, and then just seeing like, hey, this doesn't align with Crystal. And so I'm not going to do what doesn't align.
And but that takes a lot of bravery.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can think of moments even in my own life and as a coach, the lives that I've been able to align with or speak into. There are moments in which sometimes the distorted version of us can feel safer than the new version.
Absolutely.
And if someone who is listening, who is actually self-sabotaging out of comfort, what would you advise them about taking risk?
So what I would advise them is to do it in small steps, right? Like there's a saying, like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yes.
And so what I started to look at was, okay, what can I identify as like a repeating pattern? That's the emotional pattern part, right?
Yeah.
What scenes do I keep seeing come up? What issues within friendships, relationships, communication keep reoccurring? And then one thing at a time. So I didn't try to tackle everything at once. It was just friendships.
Yeah.
Am I going to align myself with friends that are not friends or who don't, engage or interact with me in a way that makes me feel good?
Yeah.
What does that look like? Practicing saying no and meaning it, right? Because boundaries, so some people will say they have boundaries, but then they don't adhere to them.
Yeah.
Right? So those are just suggestions if you don't actually stand up for yourself.
Oh, wait, don't go past that so fast. You can say you want something,
right?
But it's actually just you said it's just a suggestion.
Right.
It's not you making a commitment, a decision,
right.
A radical change. Oh, you just stepped on somebody's toes. I'm just letting you know. Just letting you know.
Sometimes that feels like we're making progress. Oh, I've established boundaries. But then if someone's allowed to keep stepping over them over and over again, are they actually boundaries? They're not. And so little by little, I started to be willing to risk whatever it was for me.
Those moments of just one step at a time can allow someone to almost create that domino effect. So it's that one domino, one at a time, that then can begin to create a ripple effect.
Right.
And in the process of you taking one step at a time, you now have your beautiful treasures, a whole book of insight that you've taken years to curate, to understand, to digest. And now Shut Up and Look Pretty is out for everyone to be able to get access to. Tell me a little bit about why this book.
This book was important to me because throughout my life, throughout these years, I've encountered other women who have been in the same situation. And so there's this saying that says it takes one to know one. And so when I would look at these women who were having trials and tribulations and cyclic situations over and over, the same relationship issues, the same friendship issues, the same behaviors, it was easy to recognize it. I was familiar. And so I would generally offer a word or two of advice if they would invite me to do so. And I just thought to myself, how many women can I reach though, one by one? I'm just one person. And while I value and love the opportunities that I've had to be able to encourage people in person or ask the right questions, because sometimes it's not about telling someone something, it's about asking the right questions. And I thought, well, the only way to really do that is to create a book, because books are accessible for everyone. Even someone who doesn't have the resources to buy the book, they can hopefully go to a library and ask for a copy of the book. So this was my way of reaching those women and giving them an opportunity to see and experience, the behind the scenes of someone who's went through it and came out on the other side.
Yeah. And in your bio, you used a term that kind of made me pause because I hadn't heard it before. Emotional pattern expert.
Right.
Explain that to us because I feel like it's connected to what you just shared.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
So they say that there's always a plus and a negative to situations.
Mm-hmm.
So the situation that occurred when I was 14 is a form of trauma, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And this allowed me to be able to detect when I was in danger. I was able to change my behavior so that I would essentially survive, survival skills. And then little by little, I started to realize that those survival skills, though initially maladaptive, were actually beneficial in certain environments and circumstances, especially with helping other people. So I was able to detect the patterns. This is the commentary or behavior of someone who's hurt me before.
Yes.
Now I can identify those in another person. Now, that doesn't mean that I instantly rejected that person or that scenario, but it allowed me to go in with a clearer mind and information. And so this is sort of a strength that I developed over time. And that's how I was able to start successfully coaching women through relationship trials, through being single, through dating, because they were able to tell me a story that I could now break into patterns that I've seen before. And it's both sides. So both the male and female version of the information came into one place. And then I started to, over time, be, accurate in some of my evaluations and assessments of the scenarios, which brought them back to me. And so I said, this is a really interesting trait that I have, but I want to turn it into a positive.
Yeah.
And so I started doing it with other things, chemistry. And now here I am, and I put it into a book.
Yes. You just explained as a textbook explanation of something that Dr. Bruce Perry calls post-traumatic wisdom. And so the ability to actually decode or deconstruct what you've gone through so that you disrupt the pattern of continuing to repeat it, but then you leverage it as a wisdom to be able to use forward for your growth. But in such an unselfish way, you did it for yourself, and now you are sharing it with other women so that they are actually able to disrupt and move past whatever it was that was toxic, that was stifling or sabotaging, and in some respects even traumatic. You have given them the cheat code on how to stop that pattern. Do you see the pattern? And once they recognize the pattern, they're then able to be empowered.
Right. I call it the Hansel and Gretel effect.
Ooh.
And so basically I said to myself, I'm going to find my way out of this, whatever it is, and I'm going to leave breadcrumbs. I'm going to track and document how I got out of here. Yeah. And I'm going to go send help.
That for me, that was just everything. Because how many women, sister circles, need another sister to be willing to leave the breadcrumbs.
Yep.
To leave the breadcrumbs. So I want to hear about this concept. The central theme of your work is soft power.
Yeah.
Define this for me, because I was, in the intro, it's like everyone is talking about this soft life, but she's talking about soft power. What is it? And break it down for us.
So when the topic soft power went trending, a lot of people were referring to the sort of careless life, right? Being able to do whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted. And while that's beautiful, there also is there are moments where you still have to step into your power, like standing up for yourself or standing up for your sister. And so soft power is about leading from behind. Some excellent leaders learned how to lead from behind. And so they let people go forth and they rest in their selves and what they believe in and their boundaries, and they hold those standards up for themselves. And because they do, the things that they used to have to fight for end up being given to them. And that's what I started to see. Like, I felt like in the beginning, especially after coming from what I went through, that I was always fighting. I was fighting to prove I was right. I was fighting to get heard. I was fighting to be loved. It was exhausting.
Yes.
And so I said, this does not feel good to me. You know, and I thought of, like, when was the last time in my life where I felt the softest and the safest? What was happening for me? You know? And I thought about being in New York, in Coney Island with my parents. My dad was always making sure that I was okay and I was, you know, having a good time. And mom was always making sure that, you know, that she had, you know, an eye on me so I wasn't too far. And I got to play, but feel safe and still enjoy everything and experience all these new things. So I wanted to figure out a way to do that as an adult. So I started being authentically myself. I started living the year of the yes, just saying yes to things that felt good. And in doing that, the most incredible things started happening. I mean, vanity was born out of saying yes to myself. You know, I became the owner of that establishment by leaning into the soft power and saying, you know what? I want to do beauty. Beauty does have a place. Beauty does matter.
Yes.
People feeling good about themselves. That's why I called it vanity, because I wanted people to be unapologetic about taking care of their appearance.
Yes. The picture of grinding, always having to fight, I feel is a very real picture, especially for women of color.
Oh, yeah.
In our culture, in our society, in workplaces. And to be able to exchange that fight for freedom is a powerful invitation and opportunity. Can you share something from the book that you feel at LitCon you shared P's with the participants? If you missed it, you missed it. But you're going to get a little sneak peek.
Yes.
I would love to hear. Help us go into the book a little bit to help the woman who is fighting and is afraid to put the gloves down. And you have something to share with her. Share at least one of the P's with us.
No, absolutely. So one of the P's in the book that really is important to me is protection. As I stated with you, one of the places where I felt the safest in my life, I felt protected on both ends, right? My dad was protective and my mom knew where I was and wanted to make sure I didn't get lost in the crowd. And so protection was really important to me, but protection shows up in so many different ways, right? Some people think of it as a physical protection, and that's valid too, but I'm looking more as protecting my emotions, not putting us nor yourself in scenarios that are going to jeopardize the whole, you know, protecting and covering emotionally, right? Spiritually, even. You know, and then also protection comes in, as I stated, in the form of medical, you know, making sure, you know, for example, Ryan's excellent at making sure I take care of my health first. Not saying that I can't do it, but it's as important to him as it's important to me. And that is its own protection, right? Making sure that we're whole and we're together before we move out to seek others. And knowing that someone has your back, it's not that I'm not a force by myself, but together we're like a movement, and we can do more and accomplish more faster. And I think that sometimes we're raised to believe, society as a whole, that if you don't do it 100% by yourself, it doesn't count. But truth be told, you know, the most successful people are the people who have the most support and help around them.
I think part of this is actually beginning to identify the lies that we've adopted or eaten, and now it is making us sick.
Absolutely.
And it's an opportunity to say, no, that was a lie and it's not serving me. And then beginning to decide, how will I pursue the things that actually allow me to be at peace, to access joy? And I had a guest almost a month ago, Dr. Nefertiti Pointer, and she alluded to how when she really tapped into joy and wholeness and peace for herself, it was amazing how she actually found the most beautiful relationship in her husband. It was when she cleared that stuff out and she became well, it created space for the husband that may have been waiting for her to be well all this time.
Alignment. Yeah, 100%. And that's exactly why this is so important, because when you align yourself and you decide what it is that you're looking for, what makes you feel good, and then you work on yourself. So a lot of people think that this book is just about, oh, okay, I want to get this person. But if you look at all of the journal prompts, it actually helps you go inside so you can answer these questions for yourself. Because if you don't know the answer, how can you show up for someone? I have a saying that says, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there.
Yes.
And so if you don't know why you feel the way you feel or what is important or matters to you, how can you create a life outside that reflects that?
Yes. There's so many layers to this process. And you said to take your time. I didn't even realize that. So this isn't just a book that they can read. This is a book that will allow them to do the work inside the pages. That's golden. That is golden. So many women find themselves repeating those unhealthy relationship patterns.
Right.
What did you find to be your first step that you're actually recommending to break those cycles? What was the first step?
So the first step was I listed every time I wasn't in an ideal circumstance, whether it be a friendship or relationship, what was the common denominator? What were the things that kept coming up? So it's self-evaluation. How many times are you going to date the same man in a different body?
Well,
how many times do you have a best friend who's going to stab you in the back?
Right.
How many times does this keep coming? What do they have in common? And then when you look at what they have in common, then you start looking at what they all really have in common, which is you. Why am I okay with a best friend who doesn't show up for me?
Yeah.
Why am I comfortable with a man that talks to me that way?
Yeah. That can be such a scary process.
Oh, it is.
Because it can feel easier to blame it on somebody else.
Absolutely.
Like, everybody keeps treating me bad.
Of course.
But when it comes to, I actually need to turn the mirror around and have it look at me. And this is an opportunity for me to think about, what is it in me that continues to either attract or accept the very individuals that I'm blaming all of my pain.
Right. And attracting, so the thing is, you can attract someone, but it's your boundaries that keeps them from becoming part of your life, right? So people who are in the dark are sometimes attracted to those in the light.
Yeah.
That's normal. But it's the decision to allow you in that we have to question.
Not only allow you in, but stay. Everyone who comes in doesn't need to stay.
Right. Temporary parking.
Right. Temporary parking. Let's keep it moving.
Right.
Let's keep it moving.
Agreed.
You call yourself both a scientist and an emotional pattern expert. So you explained the emotional pattern expert, and you alluded to how that connects to more than just the self-work. How are those two working together and connecting to love, dating, and relationships?
Neuroscience, adaptability, how, plasticity, how your brain is really responding to the type of scenarios that you're in, what your reactions are, parasympathetic system, and just learning how your body is responding how it repeats it and recognize it. Muscle memory.
Yeah.
Some people have relationships in where they feel sick around a person.
Mm-hmm.
It could be your body recognizing that this is no good for you.
This is unhealthy.
Yeah. So I blend the worlds of emotions and science.
Yeah.
Because not everything is rooted in just the emotional response. So I discussed with you before maladaptive behavior.
Yes.
That starts in the brain.
Yes.
The brain is analyzing the scenario and then participating and starting a process of behavior that is meant to avoid whatever that situation is. Or, fear of abandonment is a good example of one, right? Where something could be toxic to you, but then your brain is responding in fear to something that would be good if this person just did actually go away.
And sometimes talking about the brain science is we actually will continue to repeat a pattern hoping that this time there's going to be a different outcome.
Your brain's job is to keep you safe.
Yeah.
And sometimes if it's familiar, that to the brain is safe and everything that's outside of that is not, which is why it's really tricky to change.
Right.
So,
and it's paying attention to that reenactment. Like you're repeating this same pattern, but in your mind, you're hoping that, well, this time it's going to be different. But what you're actually doing is just reenacting the same pain over and over again.
Right.
And what I love how you alluded to and connected that shows up as a physical response before it is an emotional response.
Correct.
And that's just how the brain operates.
Absolutely.
How do you help people pay more attention to that physical response?
By asking them questions that make them pay attention to the thing they don't themselves.
Say that again.
By asking them questions that make them pay attention to the thing that they don't, which is themselves. Yeah. We're hyper scrolling. We're paying attention to everyone, the new lip gloss that came out, the new fashion styles, the new purses. We're paying attention to everything but ourselves. Then wondering why we're the ones that are lacking things.
Yes, that avoidance. And then we begin to lose connection to who we are.
Right.
Can you share another P to
Absolutely.
Help the people out? Help the people. Give them another P.
So we're going to talk about provision, which is a very, that's a hot topic right now.
Yes. Yes.
And so provision is important for me. And I think it's important for people who do want to rest in their soft power. Do I think it's for everyone? No. I think if that's not something that you like or value, that's one thing. But provision for me is being provided for, right? A lot of people feel like that's only in a monetary sense. Like, this person buys me shoes or this person, whatever. But it's also friends can provide, right? Yeah. They can provide a safe space for you to land when you're not having a good day, when you need to talk. A partner can provide a safe home. Taking care of the core essentials allows me to what Ryan refers to as float.
I love it.
So I get to float around and focus on things like this book, for example. Yes. Okay. Yes. Being able to know that everything is okay and I can go out here and explore and experiment. The amusement park reference.
Yes.
And do something that feels really good to the soul.
Yeah.
And he felt when I told him about his story, the act of provision in his case was making sure that everything was okay to allow me the space to produce this, to help others.
What is powerful about this part of the conversation is in our culture today, provision focuses so much on the money in the bag. When you have expanded it to really unpack safety.
Yeah, it's safety, period.
It's safety.
Absolutely.
And every human being, their brain is craving safety and connection. And when I am in a space that allows me to feel safe enough to let down my guard, there's some kind of provision that has been given to me.
Absolutely. And provision, interestingly enough, people think that provision is one way, right? Okay, so Ryan takes care of this, so therefore, I provide as well in different ways, you know, in adding that connection and that softness, since I'm able to be in that space more. All women are born with femininity. I don't like this idea that femininity is only this construct that develops when there's a certain person. You're born with it. But being allowed to show it, lean into it, be vulnerable, authentically yourself, float, like the glittery stuff. That is amazing.
But wouldn't you say that you have to have experienced some level of safety in order to be vulnerable enough to allow that femininity to have space? The elements of, I go back to the picture you gave us at the start, where if I'm fighting all the time, I don't create any room for me to show up as feminine, because I'm literally the bloody warrior trying to get through the next day, because I think like the next bear is coming. But it circles us right back to this conversation of safety. And where you provided the space, the opportunity, the access, the breath, just the air,
Right.
where you provided that. So yeah, provision is so much more than the pocketbook and the shoes.
Absolutely.
I am loving. Oh, well, here is my question around Ryan. So you have mentioned Ryan a few times, and this is your partner, and your relationship is so beautiful because not every woman has a partner who is actually a partner, who is your cheerleader, your stylist, who will actually support your dreams and your ideas. And so that, I think, also speaks to your wholeness, because as you are whole, as you have healed, it creates space for a partnership that can be beautiful. So I just want to celebrate you and your partnership and your marriage. So how has your marriage to Ryan actually influenced your perspective on intentional love and partnership?
So when I first met Ryan, I told him about all these things, the emotional pattern expert part, all of the things that I had come across. And he was like so excited about me learning these things. And he actually had similar viewpoints of his own. So it created this environment where we were able to connect. And he said, like basically, like, I love that, and that could be a yes for me. And we sort of went into it with the understanding exactly who each other was. But I'll be very honest with you. I don't think if I didn't do the work on myself that I did all those years before, I really do not believe we would be able to be an item. Like, it took that to get here. And even that situation was a form of alignment in itself. So I developed it's a 5-level rotational dating program that I was working on with my friends. And some of the things that were important in that is actually how I was able to discern whether or not Ryan and I would be a great mix. But connecting and having someone who was so sure in their own masculinity that they were okay with what I was bringing to the table, if you will.
You're not a threat.
I wasn't a threat.
A true partnership.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not a competition. You're complementing.
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
And I felt that from the beginning. From the very beginning.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And now, he is part of helping me make sure that other women get to experience the same thing.
Yeah. So tell me about Bougie Botanica. Tell me about this partnership that you have with your husband, and what is it? Tell us.
No problem. So for as long as I can remember, I've been interested in healing from the inside out. I did go into beauty, which is interesting, right? Because it's, the outside. So I happened upon women who put so much emphasis on the external. And then being in vanity, 7 years now, over 1,500 women later, between love advice and beauty advice. And I watch how women are putting so much investment into how they look, but not how they feel and not how their body is performing. You have women dealing with things that have simple fixes, but they can't pay attention to themselves long enough to do it. Yeah. So Bougie Botanica became sort of an unapologetic combination between, or collaboration between, Ryan and I, who is a scientist, myself, who's also a scientist. I started out formulating cosmetics, but I wanted to do something that could make people feel beautiful from the inside out. And that means addressing those things that a cosmetic cream is not going to help. And so Ryan said, I'm interested. Let's do it. What do you think? And so him and I formulate. We're behind the products, testing out the recipes, making sure that the ratios are right, and batching. Yeah. So it's pretty phenomenal. But it was basically a way for me to be able to reach those same women, yes, and say, okay, it's great that you got this facial, and your skin looks amazing, but what about inside? Right. You said you're not feeling well, or you're having trouble sleeping, or you're stressed. So my very first product was Unbothered tea.
I have this tea. Where's my camera? I have this tea.
Because I was so anxious.
Ryan and I were laughing at Licon. I had a day, and I said, so it says 1 or 2 scoops. I had been doing 1 scoop.
And I told you.
And now I'm trying to be all fast. And I did 2 scoops. Y'all, I took 2 scoops. Look, Ryan is in the back shaking his head. I put 2 scoops in that hot water. I was sipping the tea. And next thing I know, I was waking up and it was morning. I was like, what happened? What happened? Yeah, look, he's in the background. He's in the background laughing at me. I told him at LitCon, I said, yeah, I'm going to have to slow it down. Look at the hearts. Look at the hearts showing up. Yes, put the hearts. If you wait until the release of this tea. So I slowed it down. I slowed my roll down. I'm back to 1. Okay. I'm back to 1 scoop. Good. But this is so significant because we are literally in the selfie filter era. Like, it's all about the perfect selfie or the right filter, which is all external. And when I'm done with the filter and I put the phone down, I can't even look at myself in the mirror.
Right. Oh, I went through that.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So with your honesty, I'm hoping that you would allow me to kind of lean in and ask, has it always been just a straight up path out from darkness, and like it just kept climbing?
No.
Was it a perfect stair?
Absolutely not.
Perfect crystal stair?
No. Not by a long shot.
So for someone who is stumbling, like I made 2 steps and I fell back, or I made 3 steps and now I'm stuck on this step. The show is called The Flip Side of Adversity.
Right.
What does that flip mean to you?
So the flip side of adversity is not taking adversity and turning it into perfection, but taking adversity and learning that there are always going to be things that are going to be adverse in my journey. And strength is in learning how to navigate around them and how to get over them quicker.
Yes. Yes. Once you have experienced it, you begin to create the blueprint so you don't have to stay stuck as long.
Right.
You don't have to stay there as long.
I related a lot to like dieting. So a lot of people will go into a diet and they'll say, okay, this is how I'm going to eat for the next week, for example, or the next month or whatever. And then they make one bad choice. And because they made that one bad choice that day, they decide that they're going to forget the whole diet and just give up because they didn't do it.
Yeah.
So I approach it differently. And the same way, even with dieting, I can have a day where I didn't do my best. I can have a day where I didn't eat what I would have liked to have eaten. But this doesn't mean that my lifestyle has to be up for sacrifice. I can choose tomorrow to make in fact, you can choose the next meal. I can eat something unhealthy right now, and the very next meal can be a better decision.
But isn't that disrupting the pattern of shame?
It is. It absolutely is. Shame or fear.
Yes.
Those are the two. And yes, it is disrupting, as it should be, because I want to forgive myself. Each time I forgive myself, that was not a good decision. I would not do that again. But here's what's next for me. Absolutely.
In releasing and shedding shame, shedding or resisting getting trapped by fear, this concept of holistic self-care can be a powerful tool. How would you connect holistic self-care as the counter to shame?
Because it's intentional and it's showing up for yourself in small ways every day. That's what I love about it. When we go and we have a cup of tea, every time I sip that tea, this is something I did just for me. I didn't need to schedule a doctor's appointment. I didn't need to worry if I had insurance or not. This is just for me. You can do it before work. You can do it after work. You can do it in the middle. I take actual tea bags with me in the middle of the day. So that I can brew in the middle of the day. Skincare, same thing. Everything that you do for yourself. These are small moments where you're actually appreciating yourself. And if you do that repeatedly, you start to value yourself, whether you want to or not. It happens.
In a holistic way.
Absolutely.
From the inside out.
100%.
Yes. The opportunity to give yourself permission. I see those hearts. Keep them coming. To give yourself permission to prioritize yourself. And I see Cheryl Hurley. She was one of the speakers with you at LitCon. I see her in the comments. She often shares the quote that self-care isn't selfish. It's an opportunity for us to give ourselves permission to be well.
Absolutely.
And it's only on the other side of wellness that your life can be completely full.
Absolutely. So I use a saying about a teacup.
Yes.
So a lot of people like to serve from an empty cup. And what they should be doing is serving people from their saucer. Okay? The cup needs to...
She says serve. Look at the hearts.
That's the problem. You cannot serve if your cup is not full and overflowing. Don't serve from it.
Yeah.
So I like to serve people from my saucer. I will give you what I have after I've taken care of me and what matters to me. So that's home, that's husband, that's children, that's my vision, my book. Those things are first. And then what I have in my saucer, I'll gladly give to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I often ask guests to imagine a listener who has come across this conversation and they are holding on to the pain of their story and they come across this episode and your conversation. I'd like for you to look into the camera and speak to that person. She's holding on to the pain of her story. What do you say to her?
I would say you are enough. You matter. And you can be your own hero.
Yeah. You can be your own hero.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. What is bringing you joy today?
What is bringing me joy?
Yes. What is bringing you joy today in this era?
What brings me joy are the little things, honestly. Smiles on people's faces, staying a little longer in the supermarket line to hear some woman tell me about her day, connecting with people, my family, the sanctuary, we've created in our own home when we kind of sit there and relax and we have our tea and our music. And, so music is another one that has been amazing for my healing and transformation throughout the years. And it's something I look for inspiration and relaxation. And honestly, this book, believe it or not, has brought me the most joy only because I can finally help other people in this really large way. And there's no limits really, right? So as many books as can touch people's lives. And I know that it's transformative because I live on purpose. And so I put a lot of love and sweat and tears, literally crying as I was writing it. I'm tired, 4:00 in the morning. But I said, this is the commitment I'm making to myself and to the women who I've encountered and to the women who I've never had an opportunity to meet.
Yeah.
I want them to have a moment to live in their glory.
Yeah.
And, be pretty on purpose.
Yes. So we have talked about the book. We've talked about you and your husband, and people are like, so how do I get the book? So as always, we're down to our last 5 minutes. I want you to tell people, how can they get the book? How can they connect and follow with you? Tell the people.
So if you want to get a copy of Shut Up and Look Pretty, you should visit crystalcarmen.com. If you're not ready to commit to a copy yet, please download a free chapter of my book, which is also available at crystalcarmen.com. So that way you can see my writing style and some of the journal prompts, just to give you a sneak peek of what's in store in the book. If you are on social media, you can follow me at Crystal Carmen on all platforms except TikTok. On TikTok, I am Crystal Carmen Official.
What an incredible conversation today with Crystal on the power of the soft power and strength that's in you. Her strategies remind us that peace, boundaries, protection, and joy aren't just luxuries. They're actually necessities. And here's the good news. You don't have to walk this journey all alone. You can take what you've learned today and connect with a sister circle. And I've got just the event for you at the Lale Flowers Together We Bloom event. Because sometimes the softest yet strongest move we can actually make is saying yes to support, community, and spaces that help us grow. So together, we truly do bloom. Grab that QR code that's on the screen. There are very few spots left. Don't miss this opportunity, and I hope to see you there.